What's up, everybody? Noah Kaser back here for another episode of No Kaser Live. I'm back with Kyle. We decided that we were going to do this because, we talk movies a lot. We go back and forth a lot. And why not? I mean, I've done this video in the past. It's done well. And these are always fun, seeing what each other has watched in the month that has passed. So what's going to happen is I'm going to bring up his letterboxd and we're just going to go week by week. So we'll go from January 1st through the 8th and then do mine from then until then. And then we'll just go until the end of the month. And we'll just give our very quick and in-depth, intelligent thoughts that we are right and you are wrong. And there's nothing you can do about it. Yes. To quote Matilda.
God, I need to see that. I need to see that again. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Oh, God. I just rewatched it. I think it was this month. I think. Or it was the end of last month. I could be wrong. Either way. We're going to start off with Kyle's first. And what was your first movie you watched this year?
That would be Repo Men from 2010. I make it a tradition the first day of every new calendar year. I watch a movie that takes place in our current year. So I had to find something that was 2025, and the one that stood out to me was Repo Men. This was my first time watching it. I remember when it came out in theaters, but it kind of came and went. It didn't do very well. And I thought this was fine. It's a movie about these this like healthcare organization that gives you like replacement organs like kidneys or liver, stuff like that, but they're also a repossession service, so like your car or something like that. So if you don't pay on time, they're going to come and take it back. After a job goes awry, one of the repo men, that would be Jude Law, gets one of these companies' hearts put into him, and he sort of now is in this moral dilemma of like, well, now I'm in their shoes, and I don't know if I can keep doing the repossession thing. It's really, really good. I don't have too much to say about it. I thought the action was really good. The thing that really pulls it down, and I don't want to spoil it, is the ending. The ending is one of those ones that like pulls the wool over your eyes, and I don't think that was the right way to end things off. But it is really, really good. I liked it a lot.
And the next title you watched was something completely similar to it, I am sure, called The Damned.
Yeah, that's I know it says 2024, but this is the first 2025 film of the year, and it was okay. It came and went very, very quick, but I saw it.
It was one that I watched too, but we'll get into that in just a minute. The next one you watched, you started a series.
Yes. So I looked up like a random wheel generator online, like a Wheel of Fortune kind of thing. And I was like, I want to do like different types of genres for every month of the year this year. And the theme for January was documentaries. So I was like, okay, I know of a handful that I want to watch. But most of them, like if I was feeling lazy, I would just throw on something from Netflix or whatnot. And it actually worked because I got caught up on a lot of stuff that was in my watch list. The Menendez Brothers was pretty good. A little too Netflix polished, but I liked what I saw.
After that, it was The Mistress.
Yeah, that was a Tubi movie. I think it was only an hour long. But I love that quote that I put. That's the most memorable thing about it. I remember it's two characters. One's a cop and the other one's like being interrogated. And he's like, am I free to go? And he's like, yeah. So he opens the door and he's like, we'll be in touch. He goes, touch these nuts. I'm like, let me write that down.
So what you're saying is it's high art cinema.
Very high art.
It's the next year best picture, 100%.
It's up there with Wicked.
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean with this quote here? Clear cut.
That's a movie. First of all, yeah, that was like punching a vagina. That's that's a line that's said in the movie. This is one of those like it's one of those movies that falls apart the minute you start thinking about it because its logic doesn't hold up. This whole movie is about this guy who gets like hired on for a logging company, but like these guys end up coming through like on the first day and they caused chaos and all this other stuff, but they like know each other for some reason. Like the whole plot depends on like this incredible sense of timing. And it's just like, okay, well, would any of that have happened if he didn't show up to work that day? I guarantee it wouldn't have.
I was gonna watch that, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Huh. Why do I gotta pay to watch that? So I know it's on Hulu, I think.
Peacock. It was literally the day after because you asked me, you said, hey, is there any movie from last year that you want to catch up on? And I said, well, really Clear Cut. And it was something else, Lumina, I think, which still isn't streaming.
No.
And you told me that it was like $5.99. I said, well, let's wait like a week. I said it might pop up on Hulu. And literally the very next day, Peacock got it. So
that saved us. I mean, and then the next one was this film.
Yes, I watched One Day in September because I loved September 5th, which didn't make a big splash in wide release last month like I had hoped it would. But then again, Paramount didn't release it that wide. It comes to Blu-ray and DVD on the 18th, folks. So not this Tuesday, next Tuesday. I would say stick with September 5th. There's nothing wrong with One Day in September as a whole about telling you about this information. I think some of its choices in storytelling are a bit inappropriate. Like there's a montage. So it's about the Munich massacre that happened at the Olympics in Germany. And there's a scene during the end where like have a montage, and it's a pretty graphic montage of these like photos of corpses and everything. But they put like a Deep Purple song behind it, and they like try to get like all rock and everything with it, and I'm like that doesn't sit right with me. But it won the Academy Award for Best Documentary the year it was nominated. I don't know what it was up against, and I guarantee you it's probably not the best one in there. But I mean, it's fine. But like I said, I would stick with something like September 1st or maybe Munich. I've never seen Munich. Urbana, that's the Munich man.
Oh, did I lose him? I don't know if I lost him. I think I lost him.
Right
Let's
here.
try this.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you. There we go.
Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know what happened.
That's it. We're live. No cuts, no edits. Live. Nope.
That's right.
And the next film was this one.
Yeah, Dirty Dilemma. More Tubi garbage. It was an hour long. It felt like 3 hours. I watched it. It made no sense. But you know, kudos to the filmmakers for getting it out there.
Yeah. Parachute.
This was really good. This was directed by Brittany Snow, I believe, written by her too. And it's just a really, really good story touching on a woman coming out of like rehab and trying to better herself from with her mental illness and everything and her mental health. I thought it was really sweet, and I thought it was really well done.
After that, you watched TikTok Star Murders.
That was really good. It was a case I didn't even know about, but I was really enthralled by the whole thing.
Next up was something very similar called Chosen Family.
I don't know what's happened to Heather Graham. I really don't, because she used to be on top of things, and she used to be in like really good movies, and then she just made this weird decision to veer off into stupid shit. And this one she's actually responsible for. Like, she directed it. It's just lifeless. It's really boring. It's one of those comedies where it's like, okay, if nothing's going to happen, then why am I sitting here?
I was gonna watch it, and it never came out to a price where I wanted to pay for it. So it was $5.99, and I went, you want to know what? I'll check it out on Netflix or Hulu. It'll be on one of those. And then I saw it, and I went, you want to know I have better things to do with my time? I wanted to. I'm a rom-com guy. I'm a comedy family type of guy, and this just didn't really interest me all that much, unfortunately. But at least you can say it's anal healing massage.
Yeah. I still have no idea what the hell that means because they don't delve into it.
Glitter and Doom.
So this was not great, but it's interesting. It's a musical solely with songs by the Indigo Girls. And they're even artists that I'm not too ultra familiar with, but in the end, I found that the movie was a little too self-indulgent and way too long. The thing runs over 2 hours. I don't know. I couldn't get behind it, but at the same time, I didn't hate it. Because I can't really hate something that's that ambitious.
Next up was Running on Empty.
So that could have been good because it's all about like a dating service that matches you up with somebody. So it's a dating service that knows the day that you're going to die, and it matches you up with someone who's like dying on the same day or dying around the same time. The movie decides that that's not good enough for it to focus on, so it focuses on 100 other things, and none of them are interesting. Could have been better, but I didn't like it.
A documentary, Jesus Camp.
That it was a little tough to watch, mainly because it is so similar to what's a lot of things that are happening today. But it is really good. I know that the camp that was featured in the movie closed down like a few months after, and the leader of it said, "We will be back. We just don't want to do anything now because of like, harassment and everything." As far as I know, the camp has not been back since the movie came out.
I don't think so. I remember hearing it was shut down, but I don't think it ever came back.
No.
Next up was Better Man.
Yes, I was one of the 20 people that saw this in the theater. First of all, it was showcased as the mystery movie for Regal that week, which was perfect because that was on the table to see anyway. And they said, you know what, we're gonna have it so you can see it a few days early. So I've said this before on the show. The way a Regal mystery is, they've been doing these since September of 2022. The tickets are priced at $5. You go and see a movie that's you get to see a few weeks ahead of time, or just not released at all. Like in the case of Sing Sing, I saw that in July, and that never came here. But you get to see it a couple weeks early, and there are always like a decent amount of walkouts at these. Um, Mainly because people are taking a chance and they don't like, maybe the movie's not vibing with them or something. Um, Before this, the most amount of walkouts that I had seen was Owen Wilson's Paint, which wasn't that interesting. Um, and the anime movie that they chose to showcase last year, Spy X Family Code White.
Uh,
And the audience walked out of that within the first 10 minutes because they're like, what the hell is this? Better Man by far had the most amount of walkouts that I had seen. Like the theater was about 75% filled up. And by an hour into the movie, there was just me and a couple other people left. Um, and I understand that Robbie Williams really doesn't have an American appeal. I understand that. I think the decision to make him into a CGI monkey, I completely understand. Um, I just don't think it was the right choice. Um, I think the budget for this movie at $110 million is a little out of control. Back to Black came out last year. That was a biopic on Amy Winehouse, and that didn't do great either. But I mean, they at least kept it low budgeted enough because they knew the audience. I mean, it was primarily going to be more popular in the UK. This movie was a big bomb because people refused to go see it. They were bombarded on TikTok by it. Um, and that's a shame because it's really, really good. It's from the director of The Greatest Showman. Um, I'm now, I've listened to the soundtrack a couple times. I am now a casual fan of Williams's music, which is what I was hoping. I'm hoping is what he thought would happen. But I really loved this. I wish more people gave it a chance, and they didn't.
Unfortunately, my theater and no theater around me played this because what Paramount did was also stupid. They decided to pull it from over, 1,600 theaters. It was supposed to open in like 3,000.
Yeah,
It opened in 12, which
yeah,
was
1,200. Yeah.
awful. I mean, it's still a wide release,
Mhm.
but wide doesn't mean anything when you're only in 1,200 theaters and I actually have to look up where to go and see your movie.
Yeah.
Now, it comes out on digital on Tuesday, and I'm watching it that way. I'm finally going to see the film. I can't wait, and I'll probably do a review on this channel maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday show. I'm looking forward to seeing it. The trailer looked interesting. I just don't know anything about his music, so I'm looking forward to it. I know what to expect going in, and I can't wait to see what else is down the pipeline for him because I have a viewer who knows him. Well, knows of his stuff because he grew up with his stuff. So it was just a lot easier for him.
Yeah.
Your next film was Amber Alert.
Boring.
Yeah. I wasn't even going to watch that, but I love Hayden and I can't even get myself to watch that. Night Bitch.
Yeah. So I love Amy Adams. I really do. And this movie completely came out of nowhere to just be weird. I mean, the plot is about a mother who's going through postpartum so badly that she imagines that she's a dog. Um, but the movie constantly feels like it's in the middle of an ocean, and it's stranded on this tiny little island, and then a board comes along and they put Amy Adams on that board and they push her out to sea, and she's just all adrift on this piece of board alone, and the other people are shouting at her to do stuff, and she's doing stuff to the best of her ability, but she can't carry the entire movie on her own. It's really strange. Supposedly the book's not that good either, which the last book to movie adaptation that Amy Adams did wasn't very good either. That was The Woman in the Window, but the book wasn't very good. I read the book. Yeah, she's great in it. She really is. I wish the movie did something more with her.
I wanted to see it. The issue is, again, it didn't come to a theater here. It opened very, very limited. And I mean, so limited that almost nobody saw it in theaters. And they decided to shove it on Hulu. So I'm going to watch it eventually. It's on Hulu. I might do it this week, but I have quite the watch list. I'll probably get to it at some point this month, but I'm not expecting much. Unfortunately. Oh, well. Next up was Jerry Springer.
Yeah, Fights, Camera, Action. I was like, I need a documentary to watch tonight, and then somebody had posted that was out, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that I want to watch that. First of all, Netflix needs to stop taking things that are like less than 2 hours and splitting them up into like 2 or 3 episodes or parts. It's annoying. When you put this together, this thing is not even 100 minutes. But it's interesting. I would like to, I kind of almost want to watch it again with my grandmother, because my great-grandmother used to watch this show a lot, and she used to sit and laugh at it. So,
well, that's a great way to put it. Well, my mom didn't watch him because he was too filthy, but she watched Maury, so I don't get that. Okay, cool.
They're all the same.
It is all the same thing, except I guess Jerry had strippers on it, and Maury very rarely had strippers on there. So I'm like, okay, that's the same show there, Ma. Great, cool. And your next one was Dead Money.
Yeah, it was fine. I didn't mind that one too much.
And then I think that we'll wrap up this segment here, I think, with this one.
Yeah, I didn't care for. There was one of those ones where I was like, okay, I got to get around to watching it. But I put it off, and I think that was the week that the Golden Globes were, and it won all those awards. So I watched it, I think, a couple days after that, and I was like, this is not good at all. But it wasn't terrible. I'll give it that.
And for mine, we'll go into my first week. Unfortunately, I normally watch quite a few things. I just wasn't able to because of one, work, but also in January, I usually try and find stuff that is very easy to watch, but I have a rule for myself as well. My first movie of the year has to be something that I waited until the end of last year to watch. So last year it was Air. This year it was A Real Pain. This film, when I tell you, the perfect first movie of the year I've watched in a while. You want your first movie of the year to be something memorable. In this case, it was for me. This movie was very likable. It's funny. It's charming. It knows what it is. It doesn't really do anything wrong. It's very charming. It knows what it wants to be. It knows exactly what it's trying to do. And with that, I'm perfectly happy with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It should be up for more Oscars and more award consideration. The issue is there's just other films that are ahead of it, and I really wanted it to do a lot better. We are getting Culkin as the Best Supporting Actor, so I am looking forward to that. Seeing him finally win an Oscar. My next film after that was down here. Here it is. So I didn't do a movie on the second. I don't know what was wrong with me. I normally try to watch a movie every single day, but it was The Damned. The Damned was fine. I got a screener for that one, and I waited until like the day before it went into theaters to watch it. It's fine. It doesn't do anything stupid wrong. I mean, it's just very well shot. The sound editing and sound mixing are phenomenal in it. It's just the movie moves at a snail's pace, and they don't really develop any of the characters well enough to really get you sucked into the storyline. There's moments here where it could feel like a Nosferatu. It could feel like that gothic, dark, just dreading type of a film. It doesn't do that. Instead, it just decides to sit there until the last 10 minutes, where it actually picks up and actually starts doing something interesting with its plot line, and it just didn't do it for me. This is a hot take. A lot of people don't like my opinion on this one, but in my case, I didn't grow up with these guys. So that's why I wasn't all that into this film. I watched a lot of other things growing up, and Wallace and Gromit wasn't one of them. I didn't grow up with these guys. So in my case, say that there was for some reason a Bear in the Big Blue House film that came out in 2025. That'd be more for me and you. Today's crowd, they'd give it the same score that I gave this or lower. It doesn't do anything at all wrong with itself. My thing is, it's beautiful stop motion. It just didn't intrigue me at all with the storyline. I enjoy something like A Shaun the Sheep, but this is sort of the same thing. It's just I didn't grow up with these guys. I'm not attached to these guys. I appreciate what it does. I appreciate it being funny and charming, and it knows what it's doing. But for somebody who didn't grow up with it, it's not going to do itself any favors. And then I did watch Vengeance Most Foul. Same thing here. I gave it the same score. Like I said here, it's more of the same. If I grew up with it, it'd be a different story. This is one that we talked about a little bit. Some Other Woman. Okay, so this is a movie that came out with its trailer early last year. Normally, it's from some small indie company, and I think this might have been like a Vertical film or something. So with Vertical films, they usually go to Hulu a little bit afterwards or something like that. Come out to rent, for the love of God. This thing took over a year to come out on digital before you went to go and see it in theaters. It opened very limited. I mean, you had to get super lucky, which he was super lucky to go and see this. And I know he's so overjoyed about this movie.
I don't know if lucky is the term for it. I saw it after Night Swim. So
yeah. I will say I preferred Night Swim over this one.
Me too.
This movie doesn't really tell you what it's actually doing. It's a movie that has twists in it, but it doesn't explain what's actually going on. Instead, with Night Swim, you had a horror film about a possessed evil pool. That's pretty self-explanatory. The only thing I had to explain is why is it like that and what happened to it? What happened to the other family? Okay, cool. I enjoyed parts of this. Tom Felton's fine. He's fine. How to explain this? Okay, so the woman he's first in the movie with, who he's married to, she is completely boring. She gives no life to this performance. And the other actress, it's been over a month. I'm not going to remember any of their names because it's not a very memorable film. This movie could have been a lot better. Her performance was a lot better, though. I think she stole the film because she had more to do with her role. Tom Felton just had to say the same exact lines that he said to the other woman. That's it.
I struggled to understand the movie as it was happening in front of me. I'm not going to remember a thing about it now. So
in my short little review, I said it's a very confusing film. It doesn't do a good job of telling you what's happening, and you're more annoyed than entertained by it. Very little to say about this one. 2 out of 5. I think that's gracious on my end.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then I got into a bit of a spree of rewatches. January's very, very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Very slow. There's not a lot that comes out in January, so for somebody who's a film critic who has a 2 auditorium theater, I go off of streaming. There wasn't anything on streaming for the good majority of the month of January.
Yeah.
Until literally the last couple of weeks. I'm like, holy shit, yeah, here we go. Well, here comes the rewatches. I kicked it off with Step Brothers. I mean, there's just moments in life where you need boats and hoes.
See, I've seen that movie twice, and actually 2.5 times, because I watched part of it when I was with Molly one time. I don't hate it, but I don't necessarily get the whole appeal with it. Like, I don't. Like, but then again, it's not a movie I hate. Like, if it's on, I can gel with it and all that. I don't, I think it's too highly put on a pedestal.
Okay. For me, I watch it and I'm like, is it good? Is it well made? Not really. But when I'm having a down day, if I need something stupid, this is one of the first things that comes to mind. And I don't give it as high a score as everybody else does. I mean, I know people who give this 5 out of 5. That's awesome that works for you. Your opinion is just as valid as mine. The issue is, once we get to the climax of the film, after they have that climax, the climax of the film, when they go their separate ways, and the parents are now divorced and they're on their own lives, it becomes less interesting. There's not very many laughs. It's pretty boring for the most part. The most laughs that I get out of it is from Catherine Hahn. And I love her.
Yeah.
She delivers in every performance. Even in something like Bad Moms or something. She over-delivers in that film. This movie, this was when she was first starting to become popular.
Uh-huh.
And my God, her scenes with John C. Reilly make me bust out laughing, especially when she's in the men's bathroom for no apparent reason other than to have sex with him. And then at the very, very end, she has to pee, so she lifts her leg right there at a urinal. I'm like, okay, that's juvenile, but I'm here for it. But with Will Ferrell, what do you expect? I mean, he's not technically the best actor in the world. He's not trying to be either.
Yeah, that's true.
But continued with the rewatches, this is a movie I've watched many, many more times than just 4 or 5. It's just, after an R-rated comedy, if you need something to watch late at night, I find it simple to go with Jim Carrey, and I went with The Mask.
The Mask is really good. I really need to rewatch that. Because Cameron Diaz is fueling some talk about wanting to come back and do another one.
If they do, my ass is there. I'm there day one. I will fight an old lady to be the first one in the theater. It is The Mask. It's my second favorite Jim Carrey movie. But my main issue why I don't have a 5 out of 5 with it is because I'm not really into the whole prison scene. The prison scene when the dog somehow understands him to get the keys. They try to throw it away with.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that was a little weird.
Not the cheese, the keys. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't care how light or heavy of a sleeper you are. If a dog is on your chair and you have that heavy of keys in your pocket, you're waking up. You're waking up because those keys were freaking heavy. I love The Mask. It is one of my main comfort films. If I need something stupid, that's automatic. I mean, PARTY because I gotta. Come on. But going on to the last couple of films for My first week, I had Zombievers.
Yeah,
Woo!
I've never seen it. I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
I found that on Amazon Prime, and I went, you want to know what? Why not? Why not? It was literally, how long is this stupid thing? Like 78 minutes? It was, yeah, 77 minutes. It's awful. It's bad. And I mean, it's really bad. Does that mean I didn't enjoy myself, though? No. There's some good... I gotta watch my words here because this could go one way or another if I don't say the right thing. So, yes, this movie is about zombie beavers. It's so stupid, though, that the blood and gore is watchable. The performances are atrocious. I mean, it's just hot people having sex, going topless. It's your R-rated sex horror romp that you don't really care about. And then I know that my next film you really enjoyed, and that is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. I needed something short. I was in the mood to watch something really bonkers and out there. I hadn't seen this since probably the first time I got the Blu-ray. And when I went to theaters, I was having stomach issues, so I couldn't properly enjoy the movie. The first time I gave it a C. The next time I'm like, okay, this is a hell of a lot better. This is a lot better.
I saw it. I remember the night I saw it. I was in love with it. I still am. I think it's a fantastic movie. I think the soundtrack holds up. I think it's awesome. I saw it twice in theaters. Bless you. And
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I should rewatch that actually.
I think I watched it because it came out. No, it came out in February of 2020. So I think it literally came out today. I think it came out today.
Yeah,
five years ago.
First week of February of 2020. Yeah.
But I really love the movie. I don't get the hate of it. I mean, I get it. It's not the most well-made movie, but for a Harley Quinn movie, I don't need it to be very well made. I just need it to be bonkers and entertaining, and Margot does that for me. She does that to no end. Oh, we do have some comments. I'm sorry I'm late to these. I didn't even see those. Hello, Sav. It is late for you, man. Holy shit. Wow. I grew up watching them. I'm guessing Wallace and Gromit.
Mm-hmm.
We have Molly. I love that movie. I'm going to guess it's The Mask.
I don't think she's seen The Mask. Step Brothers. Yeah, I agree with you. If I need something stupid and R-rated, I mean, I'm gonna put my nutsack on your drum set. That's my style of humor. Mine too. It's just I don't know why it doesn't land for me. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's Will Ferrell, and his stuff is very, very hit and miss. Very hit and miss.
So I just a brief correction because I have my phone right next to me, and my darling is texting me. She was referring to The Mask.
Oh, Mask. Okay.
I mistook her. She loves Step Brothers too. I know that, but no, she loves The Mask.
I didn't like Birds of Prey. Okay. Hey.
To each their own.
Yes, it is late in the UK. I think it's 12:40 in the morning. Well, 12:40 at night.
Jesus.
So, I mean, my ass is usually in bed. To keep going with yours, your next movie was... Okay, here we go. It was very ugly, it looks like.
Yeah, horrible. I'm gonna try getting a little shorter with these, because I watched a lot more than you. But yeah, Uglies was. I mean, it's right there in the title. Horrible. Would have done numbers in 2010. It would have done numbers then, but I mean, it's 15 years later.
But they shoved it on Netflix, and I'm sorry, you put Joey King on there and tried to call her ugly. Okay. I have one thing to say to that. And if I had the right sound bite, it would be very, very funny, but I don't have the what. So instead, I'm just gonna say, do you want to know what's uglier?
What?
Oink.
That was a lot uglier. Your next film, it looks like, was The Last Showgirl.
Yeah, I liked that one. It could have been better. But Pamela Anderson and Jamie Lee Curtis are really good in it. That again with Molly. But yeah, I think it's a nice redemption performance for Pam Anderson, for her to be taken seriously. I wish the movie was a little longer. Like, without credits, the movie's only an hour and 20 minutes. So, but I liked it a lot.
After that, you did a rewatch for a sequel.
Yes, Den of Thieves for Den of 2, Pantera. I'll talk about both of them because I think the second one's up next.
Yes.
They're both fun. They're both 2.5 hours long. They're both just, I mean, they're I like them. I like them a lot. I think Gerard Butler is really cool. I think he does great work. I know our first movie that Molly and I saw in the theater together was for a mystery movie, and it was for Kandahar. And we are going to see the live action How to Train Your Dragon, which I think looks really cool. But it begs the question, why do a live action remake when the movie came out in 2010? Same thing. Moana's getting a live action remake next year. The movie's not even 10 years old.
Nope.
I digress. I like both Den of Thieves. They're going to do a third one. I'll be sat for it. The only thing I wish is just don't make these movies so friggin' long. Like, I don't understand why they're both so long. But, hey, I don't mind it, I guess. Too much.
Well, the next movie up, you did mind a little bit. That was The Tearsmith.
Yeah. Ridiculous. I tried reading the book and then I abandoned it after like 2 chapters. I'm like, this is not going to be something I'm going to like.
It looks like something like, say, The After, or a bad teenage style film that's poorly written.
Yeah. This one, though, which is very awkwardly called AmFad, All My Friends Are Dead. Really good, like little indie slasher that came out last year. And they're doing a follow-up to it. And I think the day I watched it, I came on for the Best of the Year show. So like a couple minutes after it was over, I came on for you.
So I think so.
It's
Hey.
What do you mean by that, Seth?
Hey. We are in 2025. I mean, if the Jetsons could have spaceships and they could fly around the world, we can be in 2 places at once. So apparently we are in bed with you.
No, I'm not. Let's just clarify. I'm in a chair.
No. And I am standing up in a room in Ohio.
We're both in Ohio. It's dreary as shit.
Yeah. It's cold, it's blustery, and people are pissed. There is too many live action remakes. I will agree with that. The thing is, they're not going to stop making them, though, because they make money.
Yeah, unless one of them tanks really bad. I mean, they got 2 coming out this year with, I mean, Lilo and Stitch, the teasers look really good. I like that they're doing what they did with the animated movie and spoofing some Disney movies. But we caught the trailer for Snow White. I forget at what movie we were at, but we were like, this looks I don't know. We'll see next month, but it just really doesn't look good.
I'm the only one I know who's looking forward to it. One, because I love Rachel, but also I think they should have cast real little people.
Mm-hmm.
But with what they've done, I can't say I've seen enough of the dwarves yet, so I can't really say much on that topic yet. I can be wrong. If I'm wrong and it sucks complete ass, then I will be the first one to tell you it sucks complete ass, and I will be very mad at myself for being excited about it. Best worst movie.
That is a documentary about Troll 2, um, directed by the main child actor that was in it. Troll 2 came out in 1990. I mean, it's a documentary about embracing the most unexpected thing possible. And it's about like these people that went out and shot a really shitty ass movie called Troll 2. And then it catches up with them 20 years later, and it's just so endlessly fascinating. George Hardy is the main focal point of the documentary, and I've never seen a more charismatic person. Like, even his ex-wife is like head over heels about him. She's just like, it just didn't work, like, for like some other reason. But it's really, really interesting. I think it's a documentary that everybody should see once, especially if you're into filmmaking. But I love it. Like I said, I think it might be my personal favorite documentary of all time.
Do you have to see Troll 2 before watching it?
Absolutely not. The documentary does a very good job at informing the viewer everything they need to know about Troll 2.
Okay. Next up was My Stripper Name, Frankie Frico.
That this one I'll be very brief with. If you liked movies like Gremlins and Critters, and if you're one of the 2 people out there that really, really dug the Garbage Pail Kids movie, this movie is made primarily for you. But it's really good. It's just you have to be in the mood for it.
Cold Case.
Yeah, 3 hours long, and I'm like, okay, like, thanks for taking the time to touch on things that people already know, but dig a little deeper because someone out there did it.
Jailbreak, Love on the Run.
Oh, the more I think about it, the less I like it, but I don't know if I want to change my rating on it. Just a very weird case of like a corrections officer escaping with like an inmate that she fell in love with. I mean, it's really, really odd.
And then you set yourself up with The Wolfman.
Yeah. The original from 41, really good. I would say for Universal horror movies, I think Frankenstein and Dracula are better, but this is still really good.
I've seen it. I can't remember when I saw it, but I remember thinking it was just okay. Can I actually see when I watched this? Oh wow. I watched on Halloween night in 2020, so it's been literally almost 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, over 4 years. I'll rewatch it. And this is one I still need to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. They poured $150 million fucking dollars into this thing.
Yeesh.
And it's one of the biggest financial failures of all time. But I don't know. I didn't mind it. Emily Blunt's in it. You really can't go wrong if you have Emily Blunt in a movie. I mean, she's been in this business for well over 20 years. She's proven with movies like The Devil Wears Prada that she can own a role, and she does. She plays Gwen Conliffe in this, who was like the main female love interest in the original Wolfman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I appreciated the atmosphere of the remake more than I did anything else. Um, but yeah, it's definitely not one I'm going to go back to a whole lot.
This next one I just watched literally yesterday. And it's Wolfman 2024.
Uh,
Or five.
yeah. That was one that I didn't mind. First of all, it's one of the few times I forgot what a movie was rated. Like, I didn't realize that I didn't. Well, I thought this was PG-13. It's not. It's R. Um, but I don't know. I loved The Invisible Man, the one that Wanell did in 2020, because that is a really interesting take on that source material. This one is fine. Um, a big problem is that your two main actors are supposed to be a loving couple, and they look like they can't stand to be in, not stand, but they aren't comfortable to be in a room with each other.
Yeah. Eh.
But I don't know. I didn't mind it.
My main issue was I was going to do a full review on it. Then I realized I have very little to say about it. I thought that the werewolf design was very underwhelming with what they could have done with it. It should have been more.
Yeah.
It should have been more. He didn't really look like a werewolf or a wolf. It just looked more like he was a very hairy man, which I see those at work every single day. So you might as well just cast them, and they probably would look more like a wolf. The daughter was very sweet in it.
She was.
The effects were decent. I mean, my God, the makeup on him was really good. Go a little bit further, make him look like a wolf, and I'd be a little more interested.
Yeah.
And then to end off this week for you, we're going to go with The Brutalist.
Yeah, that was a movie. So I went to like the 9 o'clock show for that. And that's still in wide release. If you go to a showtime of that movie that says it starts at 8 o'clock, block out the rest of your night. You're not getting home until after midnight. I mean, it's a very long movie. I didn't get home until 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, literally, it's very rare that I leave the theater and it's that desolate. But there was a guy that was in the theater. Like I left, I went to the bathroom, and then I started going to my to the parking lot to the car, and he was getting in his car, and he goes, "Brutalist, right?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Real long," and then he just got in his car and drove off. But it's fantastic. I mean, there's a reason why it's like rumored to be the front runner for Best Picture. It's so good. Like I got really wrapped up in it.
I know it's supposed to come out on digital at some point this month.
Mm-hmm.
When it is, the day it comes out, if I'm off of work, I'm just going to plan my whole morning around it.
Yeah.
Because now, one thing I'm a little nervous of is, are they going to give us the intermission with it, or will they just cut the intermission out of it?
I think so. I think so, because I mean, they don't do it with other movies that have had intermissions. They don't cut those out. They might shorten it a little bit, but they don't cut them out. I don't think so.
Yeah, for me, when it comes out to digital, I'll probably skip through that because I'm not in a theater.
Mm.
But we'll get into a little bit of a talk about a news story that came out at the end of all this. Oh, this is a very good question here. Before we go into my next week, this is a very good question for Sav. How long is the movie? You and I know, but how long is it?
With the intermission, it is 3 hours and 35 minutes. So you're watching a 215-minute movie. It's extremely long, but I'll tell you, you'll be very grateful for that intermission. Because I was.
I think I could have used an intermission for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah. 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 I had to pee for the last hour of it.
So that was my fault. My next film was Flow.
Love Flow.
Nobody's talking about this movie unless you're in the Oscar space. Here's the issue. It didn't open wide. And I had to wait for it to come out on digital. And finally, I'm like, you want to know what? The movie's out. I want to watch Flow. And I'm so glad I did. This is a beautifully animated, no dialogue film that is heartwarming, emotional, funny, yet inspiring. It's all about these animals after their homes flood. And they're basically on this boat for the good majority of this film, and they're just trying to live together, even though they are a prey, or something like that. So, I mean, a dog and a cat should not be on a boat together when they've never met.
Mm-mm.
This is really a beautiful film, and if it wins the Best Animated Feature Oscar, no qualms from me. I loved Flow. I can't wait for the Blu-ray to come out at some point. I don't know when it comes out, but it comes out at some point.
Yeah.
Flow is one of my next movies. Let me know what you think on the next show. It's a fantastic film.
It really is.
This one, I don't care what anybody says. When I went to go and see this in theaters in 2011, it was with my family. I was 12 years old. And I remember going to the theater and seeing a trailer for Jack and Jill. That's all I remember about the trailers. I don't remember what else was coming out before then, but it was Jack and Jill. And then I'm like, you want to know what? This is going to be charming, and it is. Mr. Popper's Penguins. I love this movie.
I still have to see that. I've never seen it.
Okay. Do you have the movie?
I do, yeah.
Okay. I think that'd be a good one to show Molly and her son. I think he'd really get a kick out of it here in a couple of years.
Maybe. I mean, he's with live action. It's a little tougher for him. But I don't know. Maybe. I mean, he liked Harold and the Purple Crayon, so who knows?
Yeah, they're about the same type of like a whimsical type of a film, except this is funnier.
I would hope.
And has a better performance. I mean,
he did really well with Sonic 3, but I mean that has like animated characters in it, so
yeah. And it's not Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey. It's a very Jim Carrey light.
Mm-hmm.
This next one, we did our best of show.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, I'm like, I don't know which one to watch. And it was something and this. So you flipped a coin after stream, and it was Happy Gilmore.
That's right, yes.
This is very endlessly rewatchable. Not a great movie, but the more I watch it, the more I like it. So my score has kept on going up for it. When I first watched it, it was a 3. Then a 3.5. I'll probably rewatch it a couple more times this year if I need just something to throw on that I want something short. It's only 90 minutes, so hell, it's not harming anybody. Not my favorite Sandler, but a really strong one.
Yeah.
This one my grandma was very annoyed with. we went, my family went to go and see her. We went to spend a weekend with her just to go and visit, and there's nothing on TV. One thing you need to know about my grandma, she's a wrestling fan. Sundays, there's not very much wrestling on. Literally, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 6 nights of the week, there's wrestling on, besides Sunday nights. So when she has the TV on, at night, it's wrestling. There was no wrestling on, and we didn't want to watch the Andy Griffith Show or Game Show Network. So we decided, you want to know what? We're just going to watch something. And my dad and I love this movie. It's been a while since I've seen this, and this movie makes me bust out laughing. I went to theaters to see this by myself. I had no business going to see this by myself when I did, but it was Here Comes the Boom.
Oh, I saw that once, and I was like, "That's not bad."
She was not entertained. We thought it'd be the perfect movie for her to watch because, it's MMA. It's sort of like wrestling. It's a comedy. It takes place in a ring for about half the movie. She should get some entertainment out of it. She was alive when Fonz was the Fonz, and now he's like 40 years older. So maybe she'll get something out of it. She was not entertained. I was. My dad was. My dad literally yelled at the screen, "Kick his ass! Kick his ass!" And I'm like, "Dad, you've seen this movie 70 times, yet you still scream at it." Like it's going to help. But yeah, all I'm gonna say to finish this film is a quote. Those of us who aren't Amish makes our own applesauce. Yeah, because if you remember, there's a scene where he forgets to bring anything to eat before a fight, and Henry Winkler's character makes his own applesauce at home. So he had a Tupperware container of applesauce that was sitting in his hot car all day in 90-degree heat.
That's one of the things that I don't like about. I mean, this is going to shock some people. I can laugh really hard at farts and shit and stuff like that. When it comes to vomit, there's something in my brain that immediately goes, I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of shit, he called the shit poop. Billy Madison.
That's one of my favorite quotes of all time. Like, it's impossible for them to wrap their head around that he called shit poop.
I don't care how old I am. Yes, I'm 26 years old. I've seen that movie probably 50 times. I laugh like a 2-year-old every time I hear that line. I don't care. And it's a tradition for me to watch that movie whenever I go over there before I go to bed, because I know my grandma hates it. So she doesn't like Adam Sandler at all.
My grandmother doesn't either.
she thinks he's the biggest asshat in the world and the most unfunny person. She all she says is, okay, so I grew up with Andy Griffith, and Andy Griffith didn't do any of that vile, foul humor.
No,
why did he have that poop humor?
Andy Griffith was just a giant asshole. Yeah, he never did anything vile. Get out of here. Come on.
I mean, he fucking punched a wall. I don't get me wrong. My grandma knows he wasn't the nicest man, but by God, if she hasn't seen the episode 7,500 times, just like my mom.
I mean, my grandmother's. It's not the Andy Griffith show, but it's one that he's on. It's Matlock. So.
Yeah, I have yet to see a full episode of the old Matlock. I've seen an episode of the new Matlock, and it's definitely good. Then I did We're the Millers. It's been years since I've seen this.
I like that one.
It's very charming. It's fun. It's short. It's R-rated. It's Emma Roberts, who was starting to become something of a comedy star. Then she kind of fell off of it for whatever reason. I liked that. I really did. And it's an easy road trip movie.
Yeah.
One of my favorite comedies of all time, Hot Tub Time Machine.
I mean, I like it. Yeah, I like it. I thought the sequel was weird. But I like the first one.
I was going to watch the sequel back to back, and I'm like, you want to know what? Maybe not. Because I've seen it once. That was enough for me. Yeah. I might rewatch it this year, though, because it is on Max, and it's been over a decade. But then I did the stupid thing. This movie is not good, but is a guy movie. You touched her hoo-hoo. Dude, where's my car?
Oh, I hate that movie. Oh God, I couldn't get into that at all.
I get why. It's the dumbest thing, but it's not for everybody. And I get that wholeheartedly. I do. Wholeheartedly. For me, oh my God, does it make me laugh. Just how stupid it actually is. It is definitely not a good movie. But oh my Lord, if I don't love it. And then next, I did Me, Myself, and Irene.
I like that one a lot.
I love that movie. There's a very fine line of being with what it's actually about. There's a very fine line to do those jokes now.
Yeah.
In 2000, you could do a joke about a woman leaving Jim Carrey for a little black man, and all of his sons are big fat black men. And then there's a very fine line where you can do a comedy about I just forgot the name. Multiple personality disorder.
Yeah.
There's a very fine line. Then you can do it whatever the hell you wanted. It's about 15 minutes too long. It did not need to be almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
But then I did another Jim Carrey with Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, I love Bruce Almighty.
I mean, smite me, Almighty Smiter. I've seen that hundreds of times now, and it just gets dumber. But it gets better every time. I mean, I am a man of faith. You do not tempt the Lord. But, I mean, that guy learned from it. And it's a faith-based film that has sort of a sex scene in it. So that was a little shocking the first time I watched it, because at first I thought it was a Christian film.
Mm-hmm.
Then I get to the Jennifer Aniston scene. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's I would say the Evan Almighty is considered more of like a family Christian movie than Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, which for the longest time I saw Evan Almighty first in theaters before Bruce, because PG-13 was a big no-no, but Evan Almighty was one I saw and I went, yeah, this is a guilty pleasure. I don't care what anybody says. I get enjoyment out of The Master of Disguise.
I like that too. It's
71 minutes. What do you want me to say about it? Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? I mean, is it necessarily well made? No. But is it funny? Yeah. Yeah. Going up here. Oh, we do have one comment I do want to address. Did you watch Kinda Pregnant? We both did.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next month for when we come back and do the February one. But for the TLDR, which means too long, didn't read, a piece of dog shit. Don't even think about it.
Yeah, I have a review of that movie on my channel, and Netflix usually sends screeners for their comedies. When they didn't send out a screener or even get back to me on it, I went, oh.
Yeah, it's vile.
I can't believe I actually spent my morning watching that.
I spent my evening watching it last night. it was bad.
Yeah. To your next week, we already did The Brutalist. One of Them Days.
Molly and I saw that. We had such a good time with that. And that's still doing really well in theaters, as it should. Simply put, you have two extremely charming people as the leads, Kiki Palmer and SZA. They do what comedy should do. They let them run free. And it works so well. It's very, very funny. it is pretty much just like an updated version of Friday. It takes place over the course of one day. They have to get something by the end of the day, or else something bad's going to happen. It's so fun. It really is. And it's a good time. It really is a good time.
Molly, I don't know you, but I'm praying for you.
Honey, why would you do that?
I hope you enjoy it. I will say this. I will say that this, okay? As a man, I will never know what it's like to be pregnant. So maybe there's jokes in there that didn't just click with us guys. Maybe we don't get it. But then again, I'm a guy who loves the movie What to Expect When You're Expecting. So what do I know?
I mean, I even looked at it like that. I was like, okay, well, I'm obviously not the target demographic for it. But it's,
I need to see the hype.
It's yeah, the hype. The hype. The Long Game is on Netflix, hon. You're better off rewatching that.
We'll talk about that next month. We're gonna have glowing, sexy things to say about it. Back in action.
Decent. I was just happy to see Cameron Diaz back on the big screen, or small screen, but back in movies. I'm happy she's back.
I'll say the same thing. Yeah. Blue Velvet.
So David Lynch passed away, and I had two of his movies in my collection that I haven't seen, and Blue Velvet was one of them, and it's a very straightforward movie for Lynch in terms of storytelling. I mean, he was a very complicated filmmaker. And I say that with love, I really do. But it is just it's a movie that intentionally leaves you feeling unclean by the end of it. But really good. I'm glad I sat down and watched it.
I have not seen any of his films. I want to. The thing is, I just don't have any of them. And the one that was streaming was Blue Velvet. I went, you want to know what? I think I have to be in the mood to watch that movie.
Yeah. You have to be in the mood to either A, be depressed, or B, have just... These aren't movies that you can turn your brain off at. They really aren't. They're very heady movies.
Oh wow. Well, this is one that I knew nothing about. Spread. I know the lead star.
Yeah, I watched that just Sunday afternoon out. Not bad. Like, it's an internship at a porno mag company, and I mean, it's a good time waster. I didn't mind it.
I don't care what anybody says. I've always thought she was really good looking, and probably the second most talented one from the show, Victorious. Next up is Mulholland Drive.
Yeah. So that is a movie that I am very convinced that people cannot just watch once and get their final opinion. Like, that opinion that you guys see on screen is not my final opinion of it. I need to see it again. That being said, it's 2.5 hours long. So if I'm going to watch it again, I need to devote some time to it.
Next up was Beef 3. I love this shit.
I do, yeah. I'm fascinated with hip hop beefs. I really am. Speaking of which, I'm only watching the halftime show tomorrow. It's going to be a good one with Kendrick and SZA. Kendrick, I love. SZA is just so wonderfully talented. God, that's going to be a good one.
I will say one thing. My team is not in it, but I'm kind of commandeered because of my Hallmark co-host. She's an Eagles fan. I'm cheering for the Eagles with her. And they're in the same state. So, and I don't like the Kansas City Chiefs. They can just fuck right off.
Uh, my team is the Cleveland Browns. How do you think I feel?
Yeah. God bless you, sir. Ah. Not quite Hollywood.
That is a documentary about Ozploitation films, Aussie exploitation films from the 70s and 80s. Very graphic, a lot of nudity, a lot of violence. But you get interviews from filmmakers who are like, "Yeah, I used to eat this shit up in the 70s and 80s, and that's why you see a lot of it in my stuff." And I'm like, oh, okay.
And then I think we might wrap up with that one, or there might be one more. I'm not sure. Another Cabin in the Woods movie.
You know, it was aiming to be a spoof, and the problem was the few good jokes it had, it ran into the ground. And it's just, I don't know, it couldn't really hold my interest, and it's not even that long. I don't know, not horrible. It did put some effort in. I can safely say that, but I don't know. I couldn't get on board with it.
Do you think it was about 10 years too late?
No. So this isn't a sequel or related to the Cabin in the Woods from,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then I think this is a fitting one to end off with is Crumb.
Yeah, really interesting documentary about a really, I mean, a weirdo is what I can say, and I mean that with respect. Like, this is about Robert Crumb, the comics artist behind stuff like Fritz the Cat and all that. What an interesting dude this guy is. But I mean, it's a really weird and a really sad movie. I mean, I don't know. To begin like talking about the movie is to sit down and dissect like each different section of it, and I don't know. I'm kind of tired. I can't do that.
I remember hearing of it. I've just never seen it.
It's a good one-time watch.
And then I continued on with my rewatches. So this was not a rewatch. I watched this for the very first time. I've had this Blu-ray for many, many years, and it just never got put in the player until finally it was on Prime, and I went, no. I think it was on Netflix, and all of a sudden I'm like, you want to know what? I'm just going to force myself. Role Models.
I wanted to like that more. Yeah.
I wanted to. I like Sean William Scott a lot. I do.
Mm.
I like Paul Rudd. I really, really do. The thing is, this has been pushed to high heaven as one of the funniest comedies ever made.
No.
It's not. I mean, there's funny parts about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's fun things about it. I mean, McLovin's good in the little he has.
Yeah.
But and that one kid, I can never remember his name.
Bobby J. Thompson.
Yep. He's really good. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I enjoyed it enough to keep on owning in my collection, though. Now, this one was a massive disappointment. I decided to do a double feature of Paul Rudd with I Love You, Man.
Yeah, I really don't like that one. There's something really unpleasant about that movie that I can't wrap my head around. I don't understand why that movie was so popular back in the day.
This movie feels like one I just watched this month, which we'll get into it next month. But it feels like You, Me, and Dupree with a different type of a storyline.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
This movie should have been funnier. It's pretty flat. I got a few laughs out of it in the very beginning, but with Jason Segel, Paul Rudd, it should have been a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, I watched Back in Action as well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was fun. It's a family-oriented action comedy with Cameron Diaz back after over a decade, and I enjoy most of her stuff. The only film I really don't like from her, oof. I mean, I didn't hate Sex Tape, but I didn't love it either.
Yeah, same thing. I was like indifferent about it. Yeah.
Annie, I never saw Annie, so
I
I
love
can't.
I loved that one, and the shocking thing is I still haven't seen the original.
Same. I haven't seen any of them. I am looking forward to seeing more of her stuff. Now, I'm a big fan of Bad Teacher. I love Bad Teacher. Fantastic comedy from 2011. It's up my alley. It's raunchy. It's R-rated. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Next up was, which one was it? Oh, yep. Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. Yeah. No, sorry. One. I have a story behind this one. So, I made it a tradition now. Every time that there's a presidential inauguration on that day, when President Obama in 2012 was being inaugurated, my family went to go and get a new van, and I was too young to really care or know what inauguration day actually was. So instead, they went to go and buy a new car. I was 11 at the time. I said, you want to know what? I'm just going to stay home and I watch Paul Blart Mall Cop. It's a comfort film. It's stupid. It's not very good at all. As you can see by my score, it's 3.5, but that doesn't mean I don't love it any different.
Yeah, neither of the movies are good, but there's just something about them that are so entertaining. I really don't know what it is either. But I like them too.
And I'm an apologist. I love Kevin James. I always have. I mean, ever since Paul Blart, I want that guy in more movies, and I've liked every movie he's been a lead in. Even The Zookeeper, not very good.
Mm-mm.
But I think his worst one, where he's a lead, is probably Mall Cop 2. I even enjoyed his one he did on Netflix as the coach of a Pee Wee football team.
Home team.
That was really solid. It
Yeah,
could have gone the Happy Madison route with a lot of farts, but and it sort of does, but it does it in a way where it's funny.
Yeah.
I missed this one in theaters because my theater didn't play it, so it came to digital, and I decided to watch Nosferatu.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a really great one.
This is really damn solid. I mean, it's gothic. The cinematography is great. It's a Robert Eggers film. What else can I say about a Robert Eggers film besides it's phenomenally well shot? The story is very interesting, even if it's not an original work, like The Vivitch or The Northman or The Lighthouse. This is more of his take on Dracula. Very interesting storyline.
It's superb. I think it's the best of the three Nosferatus by far. The original is great. The original is one that you have to watch a certain way because it came out literally over 100 years ago, and it's a silent film. I didn't care for the 70s one. That was just me. I didn't care for it. This new one, I thought it was like the Goldilocks. It was just right. I think the costumes, the set design, the performances, everything about this movie is just off the charts.
And I can't wait to own it on the 18th.
Yeah.
God, I can't wait to rewatch that. Now, when you watch the extended cut, it's only 4 minutes longer. I can't.
That's fine.
I can't get it. I don't know what's different about it, but I'm gonna have to watch the original cut now to see what was different. Very quick with this one, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, one of my all-time favorites.
It's a classic. I love that one.
It needed a sequel. It didn't do very well at the box office at all. Very unpopular opinion here. I don't like this movie. I don't like The Thing. It is not for me.
I've never seen it. And it's shocking to me that I've never seen it. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. I don't know why I haven't seen it.
I don't know what was wrong with me either. I don't know if I had a pine cone up my ass on that day. I just wasn't into it. It it was one where I watched it and I went, I appreciate it. It's fine. I'm just not into it.
Yeah.
And then to end that off, I'm going to go with Wonka.
Molly and I love that one. That's a really, really good movie.
That has become one of my all-time favorite films. It's rewatchable as all hell. When the movie came out, nobody under the sun besides me, when it was first announced, went, that's going to be my favorite movie of the year. Then there's my weird ass going, it's going to be one of my favorite movies of the year, if not my favorite movie of the year. And we went to go and see it. My family and I went to go and see it. I loved it. They fell in love with it as well. They've seen it probably 2 times. I've seen it 3 or 4. Or my all-time favorites. Endlessly rewatchable. And I will never forgive the Academy for not at least nominating one of those songs for Best Song at the Oscars.
Yeah.
But to end that one with Wonka, going on to your next one, which was, we are going into the final week here.
Yeah.
Here we go. So we did Crumb. You had, I believe this is Angel Studios, Brave the Dark.
Yeah, terrible. The short of it is, it's poverty porn. It's just, companies like Angel Studios, they fixate on people in terrible situations, and then they're like, hey, wasn't this movie sad? Weren't you saddened by it? Don't you want like other people to be sad while watching it? Buy them a ticket. Come on. Don't you want to? And it was terrible. It was really bad.
I was not going to go and see that movie in theaters. My family is a family of faith. The issue is Christian films are not all that good.
No.
Inheritance.
Boring. Surprisingly boring, because the opening half hour is really good. First of all, this movie is shot completely on an iPhone. It's not the first movie to be done that way, but yeah, I don't know. I really didn't care for it.
Flight Risk.
I don't give a shit what anyone says. I had the time of my life with that movie. I really did, because I knew going into it was going to be fucking stupid. And I got exactly what I wanted out of it. Yeah. I don't know. My profile picture on Letterboxd is Mark Wahlberg from that movie. So
well, I got one question for you.
Y'all need a pilot?
Yep, exactly. I'm so sad I didn't get to I didn't get to theaters to see that because mine didn't play it. Mine decided to get Sonic 3 again.
Oh,
yeah. So, which I still haven't seen. Presence.
That is really, really good. A ghost story from the camera is literally the perspective of the spirit. So good. I really loved that one.
It was marketed as a horror film.
It is.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, a lot of people say that it's more of like a drama, but I mean, I can't say.
Sort of. Yeah, sort of. If you watch the movie, you'll understand what they mean by that, and I kind of understand too. But I mean, I would place it under horror.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I believe it's coming to digital probably in the next month or 2. Mm-hmm. Next up, it was Stoked.
A little disappointing with documentary, because Gator the Skater is a kind of a fascinating topic to me. I mean, he was big in the late 80s, faded away in the early 90s when a different type of skateboarding came about, and then he killed someone. And this movie surprisingly spends very little time on him killing someone. But I mean, I liked it.
I've never even heard of him, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, it's one of those like niche things. Like if you're into true crime or skating, like one of the two, you will have heard of Gator the Skater.
Okay. Next up was this film, Lost Souls.
The doomed journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau. I could go on about this movie for a while, but to keep it, first of all, I love it. It's probably the best thing I watched this month. It is so there was a movie that came out in 1996 called The Island of Dr. Moreau. It was another adaptation of the novel of The Island of Dr. Moreau. Mm-hmm. Richard Stanley was the one who was going to come on board and direct it. This is basically like Jodorowsky's Dune. If you guys have seen that documentary, both movies came out the same year. Like Stanley was really like he got into like he studied the source material of Island of Dr. Moreau, and he got on board. He there were so many problems leading up to when they went to, I think it was Australia to shoot. And then he shot the movie for 4 days, and New Line Cinema fired him and replaced them with another director. And they spend the rest of the documentary talking about how poor that shoot went. I mean, it's a story that has no happy endings. I think it's a necessary watch for anybody who's into movies and into filmmaking in general. Like, there are going to be setbacks. Not everything is going to be how it's going to be pictured in your head. But holy hell, I was so engaged with it. I really, really loved this. If you guys, I have it on Blu-ray. That's how I watched it. It is available to stream on Tubi. I highly recommend checking it out. It's awesome. Excuse me.
Next up was Perfect Wife.
Yeah. A little too long, but I liked it. I mean, she's a nutso whore, but that's what I mean, she faked her kidnapping because she wanted to go back with her ex-boyfriend. I mean, that's a little weird.
I can't wait to see this movie. I don't know if I'm going to get to theaters to see it or not. Things happened and I couldn't go to the theater, but Companion.
So that was surprisingly, that was a mystery movie. Molly came with me to see it. We both didn't mind it. The last 15 son of a bitch. Excuse me. There we go. The last 15 minutes kind of trip over themselves. They get a little too tonally off. But I mean, it's marketed like a horror movie, and it plays a lot more like a comedy. So I don't necessarily understand why people are like, oh, it's one of the greatest horror movies so far of 2025. I'm like, it's not really horror, though. I don't know. It's fine. Tad overrated, but just a tad.
Now, these, I don't know how much you have to say about them, but I'm just going to group these all together.
Okay.
And it will be the Wallace and Gromit's.
So the shorts are all fantastic. I did rewatch The Were-Rabbit. I love The Were-Rabbit. And I did that because I wanted to see Vengeance Most Foul, which is up for the animated award at the Animated Academy Award. My favorite line from Vengeance Most Foul is Wallace at one point just gets too tired and he's like, I'm going to need a nap before I finish the rest of the day. And I'm like, or I'm going to need a nap before I turn in for the night. And I'm like, what?
Next up was Leroy, Texas.
Yeah, really, really good. That was one that that's been on my watch list since like July or August of last year, because that's when it hit like Blu-ray, and just I was lazy in getting around to it, but it's really good, really, really good.
Next up is a documentary, Capturing the Freedmans.
Yeah, so that was, excuse me, that was a documentary that I wanted to watch. Very controversial because it is about. So it started off as a documentary about one of the Freedmans because he was a party clown in New York. But then after interviewing him, the filmmaker was like, there's some, like, he looked into his past and he's like, wait a minute, holy shit, there's a big story here. And his father and his older brother were like arrested and charged with like very heinous crimes. Like, I don't want to, I'm not going to say it on here because I think it's a little too much. It's but a thing was that like theater goers excuse me, theater employees were kind of upset when this movie came out, because people were staying in their seats long after the movie ended to debate whether or not they were innocent. They are guilty as all hell from my standpoint. And the brothers gang up on the mother because she doesn't want to be associated with the father anymore after what he's done. And I'm like, are you guys insane? Like, she's the most normal one here. Really good, but it frustrated the fuck out of me. Like, I was upset. It was like your dad yelling at the screen. I'm like, what?
You're cordially invited.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. They did like Amazon Prime sometimes does like advanced screenings at Crocker Park, and Joel and I were gonna go to this one, but I'm like, what comes out tomorrow morning? What do we really need to go to the theater to see it? And no, we didn't. It was just boring and lazy. Yeah. I mean, you have two really good actors. Do something with them. I mean, come on.
Valiant one.
Speaking of a wide release that didn't do very well, that opened on over 2,000 screens, and that did really poorly. It's fine. It's a very short, like, war movie where these people are like stranded and they have to get back to like a safe spot. I mean, it was fine. They a little racist. They have like an Asian person on their team, and they're like, "Oh, you speak Korean?" And he goes, "But no, I don't." So
I wanted to see this one. Love me.
God, it was fine. I don't know. It's just I think it loses momentum. I don't know. I couldn't get wrapped up wholly in that one.
And then we had Nickel Boys.
Yeah, that came to Cobblestone, and I said, "Well, I have the day off. Why not venture out and see it?" Good. So, for those that don't know, this is an adaptation of the novel Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead, but it's shot from a first-person perspective of these two boys. And that's fine. You know, there have been movies like that. Like I just talked about Presence a couple of minutes ago. Like that does the same thing. But the issue here is that because it flip-flops between the two characters so frequently, it made it really hard to fully connect with the movie once everything was all said and done. I mean, I liked it. Best Picture nomination, I don't fully get.
I'll see when it comes to Amazon. And
I think that's better because it's really long. But I don't know. I wanted to see it. The only Best Picture nominee I haven't seen is I'm Still Here, and that's playing at a Regal about a half hour away from me. But I'm not going all the way out there for that.
no.
I'll wait until it comes closer.
Yeah. Next up is one I've heard lots about, Hoop Dreams, 3-hour basketball documentary.
my favorite thing about it, so I love watching old Siskel and Ebert.
Mhm.
And one of the special features on that DVD is every single time on the show they talked about hoop dreams. And Gene Siskel said it, like he really described, they both described it very well. It's these are fully fleshed out people. It's all you're following two kids who just want to play basketball.
Mhm.
And you follow them from like 8th grade until they graduate high school. That's why the movie's as long as it is. And it is so like you feel like you don't know these people, and by the time the movie's over, you feel as if you've known them all your life. Like it's really that good. It's phenomenal. I can definitely see why they adored it when it came out. Um, shit. It's um, but that's what I wanted to close my documentary month out with, because I'm like, that's considered like a granddaddy of documentaries. So, and for good reason, it's awesome.
With that movie, you brought up, I think, the two greatest critics of all time, and Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah,
I mean, they set the standard for everything now. Even on YouTube and written reviews, they are the gold standard
yeah.
for a film critic. And seeing that this was their best movie of that year, I still haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna have to rent it and just check it out. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing it very, very soon. Next up is Darkness of Man.
I liked it. Van Damme is always like a reliable. He was one of those action stars that when I marathon, he rarely missed, and when he did, it was like very far and few between. Um, I liked this one. There are two more that I have to catch up with: Kill 'Em All 2, and then one that he came out with last month. I can't remember what that one was called, but oh, The Gardener. Um, The Gardener. That one I gotta watch. But I don't know. I like. There's something about action movies that I just gravitate towards. I really do. I don't know. Some people it's horror. Some people it's comedies. For me, it's action. I just like it.
And then that was your final movie of the month.
Yeah, that was. I closed out January with a Van Damme movie, and I'm proud of it.
And we'll go with my final week, and then I want to ask you a question about a story that came out.
Okay.
Because I think that you and I can have a good talk about it, because you go to the theater quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into that in just a little bit. So I decided to watch The Gallows. Okay. I wanted to see this for a while now. It was 80 minutes. The story sounded intriguing. It does almost nothing with its plot. It meanders around the high school in a found footage format. It does nothing scary. The only thing that it does interesting is in most found footage films, it's mostly just one camera or multiple cameras from one view, and they don't show you what happens on the other person's side of that story. So when one kid is being attacked by the demon, normally they would just have one camera there and you would hear that guy screaming and you never see him again. In this film, they actually have him have a camera and you see what he sees. That's a very intriguing idea. The issue is it's 80 minutes. None of these characters are fleshed out, so you don't get to feel for any of them nor care about any of them. Yes, it's a horror movie. You're not supposed to care about them in a movie like this. However, 80 minutes when they're doing the same exact play where a kid was killed. You're doing the same play in the same high school? No high school would ever do that.
Be surprised.
Yeah. Well, we do live in Ohio, so it wouldn't surprise me what happens at any of our schools in a play format. But, that's a story for another time. I decided to watch The Campaign.
Oh, I like that one. I like that one a lot.
I remember watching that for the first 30 minutes, and then I wasn't into it. The only thing I remembered was the dinner scene. The dinner scene is everybody's favorite part of the entire movie. One time I put a firefly in my butthole. Why? To make my farts glow. Yeah,
I just remember
it's
the kid pulled on a 3 Cent Mafia.
next up was I don't give a shit what anybody says. I get a fuck ton of enjoyment out of Jack and Jill. I don't care.
I don't mind much, which I think people are gonna come back and they're like, you dude, where's my car? But you like Jack and Jill. Look, just don't fucking fight me on this, okay?
It's all about the Dunkachino, man. The Dunkachino. It's a whole new game. Dunkachino. Yeah, it's not very good. But by God, if my dad doesn't get the biggest laugh out of the chimichanga bombs, I mean, I've never seen him laugh harder in a movie than when she goes to the Mexican. She goes to a birthday party and there's a ton of Mexican food there, which I'm sorry, one of the dumbest jokes and one of the most racist ones in the entire movie is she keeps on knocking over this dude's old ass grandma, and to keep her alive, they give her these hot peppers.
I'm sorry.
Sure. It's the bed sweats for me, Molly says. Yeah, like when Al Pacino lays him Jills. Yeah.
The hardest I've ever laughed in the theater is probably Dick's the Musical, which is the hardest I've heard Molly laugh in the theater. That movie is so absurd, and it runs with it. I should have her over again so we could watch it a third time. Like, that's, oh.
I have yet to watch it. I have yet to see it. I want to. I love Nathan Lane. I just don't know. We'll see. I'm going to force myself to watch it.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Next up, yeah, I'm going to keep this short and brief. The movie's bad. It got 13 nominations when it should have got 3. Enough said. Joyride.
I like the horror movie Joyride better than this, but I like this one too.
I like that movie. It's not one I'll rewatch every year, but it's definitely one I can see myself enjoying if I'm on a date or something, or if I'm hanging out with friends. Just shove that on as a fun, short 90-minute comedy, but it's definitely not great.
Yeah. A good fever dream, though, honey. Come on. Come on. It is so, like, literally every 30 seconds, there was a gag that hit for her, and she just lost it, and I loved it. I saw it twice the weekend it came to us, because that was the same weekend the Killers of the Flower Moon opened.
Mm-hmm.
And literally after I saw it, that was our first Sweetest Day weekend. And I said, I'm going to take you to a movie, but I'm not going to tell you what it is until we get there. And she was pleasantly surprised. So.
Well, I'll watch it. Let me see if it's even streaming.
Max, HBO Max.
I have Max. Okay, cool. So that will be a movie I watch this week.
Definitely do so.
On a Sunday morning before work, I went, shit, I need something very, very short to watch, so I decided to go back to childhood. Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost.
That's a good one. The Hex Girls.
Yeah. I love the Hex Girls. Zero apologies from me. I think that's probably my second favorite one of theirs. I absolutely love that movie. My favorite is probably Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, if I'm being completely honest with you. Super Mario Bros. Movie. I thought it was time to rewatch the movie. It's short, it's sweet, it's colorful, it's funny. It knows exactly what it is. It's not the best movie in the world, though.
I know Molly's seen that quite a few times.
Mm.
Um, no, it's really good. The last time that they were over, I put it on for him, the little one, and he had never known before that there was a post credit scene. Like I fast forwarded through the end credits, and I said, "Did you know that there's this part?" And he goes, "What's this?" Um, and for those who haven't seen the movie, I mean, mini spoiler alert: the movie's been out for 2 years.
Yeah.
Um, it's just it kind of goes through like the sewers of like I'm guessing it's Brooklyn, and you just see Yoshi's egg. And he's never seen like he knows who Yoshi is, but he doesn't like recognize like the egg at first. But he heard Yoshi, and he's like Yoshi, and I went yeah. And then the movie ended, and he goes, "Okay, where is he? Is he going to come out?" I'm like, "No, you don't understand.
Oh,
It's for the next one."
oh no. I feel so bad for him.
Well, no, because they did the same thing with the Sonic movies. Like they would put on like at the end of the first one, they teased, "Hey, Tails is going to be in the next one," and they brought Knuckles and Tails into the second one. At the end of the second one, they teased that Shadow was going to be in it, and Shadow was in the third one. So I mean, I think he gets now. Like if they tease something that the next time another one comes out, they're going to be in it.
Yeah. Now this is a movie that nobody remembers. I love this movie, and this is only the second time I've seen it, but now that I've seen it for a second time, it's easily one I can shove on at any point of the day. Premium Rush.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
It's been years since I've seen that, and I remember renting that from Family Video and going, "Holy shit, this is good!" And then I never owned it. So it was time for a rewatch of American Psycho.
That's a great movie. Really great movie.
That's one where, oh my god, I can watch that. The only thing I didn't really care for this time around with movies, I'm very odd. I can handle most things. I don't like films that are very hyper sexual, and I don't like animals being hurt.
That's understandable.
So when he kills that dog, that's probably my least favorite part of the entire movie, because to me, he didn't need to do that. We already knew he was an asshole. We already knew he was a killer. He didn't need to kill the dog. But, it's okay. It's okay. So to get it back, back at the movie, I thought it was time to go and rip his dick off with Strays. It's not great, but oh my god, is it funny?
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. I like Strays a lot. Strays is really good.
It's juvenile. I don't care. It's so much damn fun. Into the Deep. I have very little to say about this one. It's a shark movie.
Yeah, that's on my list to watch this year. I hope it's okay, but in my heart, I know it's not going to be good.
It's a shark movie. It's not the worst of them.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I've seen a lot of shark shit, so
yeah. And then I watched one of my top 5 favorite films of all time, La La Land.
Great movie, really great.
I have not seen Moonlight. I still hold a grudge about why this didn't win the Best Picture. I'm one of the only few people in this world who still hold that grudge, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure that Damien Chazelle will make a movie close to being as good as it. No, he won't. No, he won't.
Babylon was awesome. I love
Babylon. Then I watched Saturday Night.
Yes, that was one I told you needed to watch. I loved that one.
I wish I liked it more. Now, it's not bad at all. Mm-hmm. It's not bad at all. I think when I rewatch it, I'll enjoy it more, because the first time there's so many jokes that you don't hit. Don't hit because you don't notice them the first time. There's so much going on. It's chaotic. It's hectic, which, yes, that's what it was. I think on a rewatch, the more I hear more jokes and the more I see more gags, I'll get them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one I need to rewatch, which will be very, very soon. Honeymoon. This was really fun.
Yeah, that's what I told you. That was a really good one.
If you haven't seen this movie, guys, oh my God. It's streaming on Prime. Check it out. It's 86 minutes. It's original. It is way crazier than I thought it would be. And I did not see the way it was going. When he had to pull that thing out, I was disgusted. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Ew. Valiant one. I have very little to say about this one. The same as you. It's a decent war film. The performances are good. I just don't have anything else to say. Mrs. Doubtfire.
Classic.
It's a classic. It's comfort. It's charming. It's Robin Williams. You're cordially invited. I didn't think this movie was awful, but it's not good either.
Yeah.
Being honest with you, I saw one of the biggest laughs people got on The Tonight Show. When Reese Witherspoon was on there promoting the movie, she showed the crocodile scene.
I thought that was one of the worst parts of the movie. Because it made no sense. It came out of nowhere.
I didn't think it was all that funny. That particular scene, I thought the movie was a little bit mean-spirited. Because why are you going to purposefully ruin somebody's wedding by, I don't know, riding a jet ski?
See, that's the thing I don't understand about that, and I'm glad you brought that up. The thing I don't understand about it is they realize within the first half hour the mistake that's been made. They've been double booked at the same venue, the same day, same weekend for the weddings. They actually go up to each other, apologize for snapping at each other, and work out a way to where they both can share the venue.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason they still feel the need to be complete dicks. I don't get it. I really don't. But at the same time, you're kind of, if you're going to have that plot, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot if you have them make up within a half hour.
Exactly. I wanted to like it more. I had high expectations for it. I just didn't. I rewatched the Muppet movie.
I love the Muppets. Molly does not like puppets, and I completely understand. There's some people that I'm friends with, they don't like puppetry. It's completely understandable. But for me, I've always been fascinated by it. And I love the Muppets. Now, seeing them in person might be a trip, but
For some people, Shrek is love and Shrek is life. For me, it's Kermit. Kermit is awesome. I love Kermit the Frog. I love Gonzo. I love Miss Piggy. I love Sam the Eagle. The Muppets are awesome. They are exactly what they need to be. They're charming and funny. The issue is, I get why people aren't fans of puppets. I get that. I just love this particular movie. I think it's my favorite one of theirs. Yeah. This one I got a lot of flack for. This didn't hit with me. The performances are good. I was not all that intrigued with the story. I just thought that Sing Sing was fine.
Oh, I loved Sing Sing.
Yeah. I had a lot of people go, you didn't like that? I didn't love it. Now, Coleman Domingo, really deserving. Clarence Macklin, holy shit, does he give a performance of a lifetime. He deserves everything. I mean, over something like a Kieran Culkin? No. I think that Culkin's just a little bit better. But to end off this episode, we have 30 minutes or less. I have fun with it.
Yeah, I mean it's a good time waster.
It's 83 minutes. It knows exactly what it is, and it's actually based on a real story. But okay, so that was what we watched in January. The last thing I wanted to talk about, I had a couple of news stories I was going to do, but then I remembered this one. So there's a bill that's going to be proposed to Congress very, very soon. And not to get all political, I don't care what side you are for. That's your right. I don't disrespect any side because I don't care. Do what you want as long as it's legal. And as long as you're helping somebody out along the way.
Right.
There's a bill that's going to be proposed by some lawmaker that movie theaters should put the actual time that the showtime is compared to just the advertised showtime. So he wants to propose a start time, which would be what we have now, showing all the previews, all the commercials, and an actual time, which would be what time the movie actually starts and ends. So that way, one, yes, for some people who want to go on a date, say you are a mother and father of 3 kids, and you want to go and see, say, Deadpool 3. You got to pay a babysitter. Because if you got little kids, you're not going to take your little kids to go and see that at like 8 o'clock at night. So what he's proposing is that the theaters are cheating you by showing you 30 minutes of ads and commercials and all the trailers they show. Instead, he wants to do that. Would you be for that? And are you sick of like the 30 minutes of trailers that you see, or are you one of those people who shows up a little bit late to the movies at some points?
Well, first of all, I think above all, I think there are more important things to worry about and put in front of Congress than this. Second of all, they put that time there for a reason, so that way people don't feel as if they are rushing into the theater to miss the first couple of minutes. And for him to propose like them posting the end time of the movie too, they put the running time of the movie there. That's on you to kind of do the math and go, okay, hour and a half plus like 20 minutes or so. So that's about 2 hours. And then we're going to go do this after. It's just stupid. Like the more I think about it, it's dumb. I'm not for it at all. Keep it the way it is. Trailers, yeah, whatever. There's like a lot of them, but again, that's so people have that time to come in and get ready for the movie.
I get where he's coming from. The issue is here. Why propose this to Congress? Why make it a law? It's stupid. There's many other laws that could be passed besides this. I mean, yes, movies are what we love. One of the things we love the most. We are cinephiles. We are movie fanatics. We are film critics. We watch a film at least every day. There's more important things than just that. Yes, I think they should have a cutoff time of how many trailers they should show. Because when I went to go and see something like the 2019 remake of Pet Sematary, there was 35 minutes of previews. Mm-hmm. Not to mention another 3 or 5 minutes of commercials. Fine. I don't have an AMC, so I don't have to sit through that. Heartbreak Feels Good in a place like this shit with Nicole Kidman. So I don't got to sit through that. When I go to a Cinemark, I get Nuvi. That's before, though. If you want to show up before that, sure. I love doing that. I don't see why you have to propose this to Congress. Playing less trailers, I think, yes. Maybe what you should do is I'd probably do... I would propose 15 minutes of trailers. 15 minutes. That way, you get 5. And then if you want, do another 5 minutes of commercials. So do like the Cinemark ad. Because maybe they finished their water or their big bucket of popcorn. Cool. go get that refilled before the movie.
Yeah.
For me, I don't have that issue though. This means nothing to me because my little ass theater plays 3 or 4 trailers and then the movie goes.
Yeah.
The only time that I think they should put that in front of it is if there's a super long short film. Like with Coco, they did Olaf's Frozen Adventure, which was 26 minutes. That was a little overkill because you said the movie started at, say, 1 o'clock. I'm at 1:40, 1:45. The movie still hasn't started yet. I'm sitting here. I didn't pay for an hour of commercials and a short film featuring Frozen characters. I came to see a movie about what happens in an animated version of the Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I came to see that. I didn't come to see Olaf sing about that time of year. Don't get me wrong. I love Olaf. I love Frozen with my whole heart. That was stupid. But that was stupid. Does that mean I didn't watch it this year? No. Me and my family watched it because we are Disney freaks and we love Olaf. So, yeah. But there was that. We'll be back. Would you want to come back next month to do this whole thing again?
The February wrap up? Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. And depending on what comes out, the schedules and everything, we might be back before then. You guys will definitely see me back, but check out Kyle's channel down below. I have his link in the comment box. No, in the description down below. Get him to let's get him to 910 subscribers because he's at 906 right now. Little baby steps.
Let's do it.
But I'm here every single week. I now have 3 interviews planned with Hallmark stars, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Those will be coming. I have one the 21st of this month. That'll be uploaded on the 22nd. I have one on February 28th. That will be up on March 1st or 2nd, 3rd, somewhere around there. And then I have one scheduled for March 28th, and that will be up probably very shortly after that. But every single week, you guys will get reviews here, news, live shows, everything. And I'm not going to bring up anything about the Critics' Choice because that was a fuck of a show. That was the most screwed up thing I've ever seen. But besides that, everybody, Kyle and I will be back at some point next month to talk about all the movies that we watched this month. Everything from the Paddington and Peruse to Captain America: Brave New World to the romance movies, which I have a shit ton to watch, and I'm gonna show him some that I'm gonna watch, but I'm going to implore you all to come back on next time because I'm gonna force myself to watch a movie that I've been looking forward to for a very long time because I think it looks like absolute ass. So stay tuned for my review of The Man Who Loved Elvis with Tom Arnold and Roseanne Barr. Yeah. But as always, everybody, like and subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you all next time.
So